Alright guys, so today's video already looks a little bit different than the normal video because you usually don't see my setup in the background. And in fact, my setup for the longest time was a very large desk with a very large desktop, and there was just so many components that needed to take up so much space. And if I ever wanted to work on the go, I needed to have a separate laptop. And with doing that, I always felt like I was sacrificing what I was used to getting with my desktop. So I just decided that I wanted to go to one setup if possible, one setup that I could just use for everything. And I decided to pretty much go all Razer everything. So today's video is just going to talk about some of the things that I switched to, what all they're capable of, all of the things that I do with them, and why it's just been a huge eye-opener to how much a laptop and just all of this wireless gear can make things feel so much more portable. I don't feel as tied into my system as I used to with my desktop, but let's go ahead and start with the whole brains of everything, and that is the brand new Razer Blade 17 laptop. Now this is the version with the QHD display. It has an RTX 3060 graphics card in it, and it's not cheap. It does come in retailing at $2,300, but from my aspect, this has replaced so many different things, and from a business aspect, this is like the brain of my operation. So on top of being able to use this for my video editing, I also do graphic design work on the side. I absolutely love to game in my free time, and this PC can do all of that. It can do all of that sitting in front of dual monitors, or it can just do that on the go just by using it as a normal laptop. Like I said, it has a QHD display. Now this is a matte screen, which I prefer because I do not like the reflection or gloss look of some of the shinier displays. Now it is a 165 Hertz display, so if you're using this for gaming, especially gaming and movies, it has a very smooth, very quick look to it. Now as far as the graphics card that's in here, it is using an RTX 3060, and with this card, I'm able to take advantage of ray tracing when it comes to gaming. This card is also VR ready, so if I want to plug a VR headset just straight into the laptop, I can. And I've pretty much been able to play every game turned all the way up. I don't feel like I have to sacrifice when it comes to graphics, and it's also made it extremely easy to edit 4K video, again, without having to feel like I need a desktop. Now the laptop is also using an 8-core 10th gen i7 processor, and Razer has made this laptop really easy to upgrade. Now the way that I got it, just ordering it straight from Razer, it came with 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, and I went ahead and upgraded that to 32 gigs. It was just extremely easy to do, and same thing with the storage. It came with 512 gigabytes of storage, but I went ahead and added a 1 terabyte SSD on top of that. Now, as far as the build quality and the look of the laptop, the reason I like the Razer Blade series is it reminds me a lot of MacBook Pros. They're very simple, but they're sleek. It has like this all metal or aluminum build to it, except the Razer series is a matte black, which just to me gives it a more stealthier look. Now, one thing that is definitely different on the Razer Blade compared to MacBook laptops are the ports. You get plenty of ports on the Razer Blade 17 because you're getting 3 USB 3.2 Type A ports, you're getting 2 USB Type Cs, and one of those is a Thunderbolt 3 port. You're also getting a 2.5 gigabyte Ethernet port, you have an HDMI out, and then you also get an SD card slot. Now the SD card slot is huge to me because the camera that I'm recording on right now, I'm able to just pop out the card, throw it right into the laptop without having any additional accessory, and it just, again, makes it that much more convenient and less stuff that I have to keep up with. Now, as far as the audio on the laptop, because it's Razer, it has the THX spatial audio support. I was very surprised at how well the speakers sounded on here, but I'm one of those that I generally don't like to listen to things out loud when it comes to laptops and desktops and things like that. I much rather use a headset or a pair of headphones, which we will talk about that in just a second. And then as far as the connections that the laptop has, it is using Bluetooth 5.2, and it also has a Wi-Fi 6 card in it. And I've had no issues with my Wi-Fi on this, and everything that I'm using Bluetooth-wise, which you guys obviously know I cover a lot of, has worked with this laptop with no issues. So another thing that I decided to do to my setup, which really was just my way of wanting to just take it a step further, is I also picked up Razer's Core X, which is their external GPU, which basically kind of looks like a mini desktop setup. This again is another accessory that is not cheap. If you buy it retail, it does cost $500, but I happened to just stumble across a very good deal on it, and I was able to pick one up for $200. And since this is an external GPU kind of cabinet, I was able to add another graphics card. And the one that I added was a Galax RTX 3070 Ti. Now this is an NVIDIA GeForce card, and this card specifically has 8 gigabytes of VRAM, and it's pushing 2 BenQ 2K monitors that are 144 Hertz displays. I've been able to game at the highest level without feeling like I'm pushing anything to its limits, and it just gives me that little bit more power, and it gives me the ability to use a desktop graphics card. Now, the other advantages to having the Core X is it also has a 700 watt power supply. It's adding 5 more USB ports and an Ethernet port, so I'm able to plug everything into that, which kind of stays off to the side, and I don't have to go in and plug everything into the laptop every time I want to go use my setup. So if I want to use the laptop, I just unplug it, take it, I come back, plug it in real quick, and then I'm done. And another plus is it also has chroma lighting, so it can sync up with my laptop and everything else that's using that chroma setup. Now, another accessory that I added to the setup is I did pick up the Razer Chroma laptop stand. Now this stand comes in at $90, and you would think that's pretty expensive for a laptop stand, and it kind of is, but what it's doing is also giving me RGB lighting on the laptop stand. It is elevating my laptop so that a lot of the heat from it can just kind of flow a little bit better, and I don't have to really worry about things overheating, but it also gives me more additional ports. Now, it is giving me 3 more USB 3.0 ports, so again, it may seem like overkill, but I'm one of those that I like to have as many plug-in and ports as possible. You never know what I'm going to be testing, and I just like having ports to be able to switch things out and have it a little more accessible. So now on to the keyboard and the mouse that I've been using. Now we'll start with the keyboard. I've always used the Ornata Chroma. It's been one of the mechanical keyboards that's very silent, because I do like the feel of mechanical keyboards, but I don't always like that they're so loud. And the Ornata Chroma has always been one of my favorites. So I decided to try the new Black Widow V3 Mini Hyperspeed. Now this is a keyboard that's 65% of the size of a normal keyboard, so it just feels a little bit more portable. And it's also portable because it's wireless using a USB dongle, and it's also wireless because it has a Bluetooth connection as well. So it's one of those, again, that just makes me feel I can use it in a bunch of different situations. Now it is using Razer's yellow switches, and that was important to me because those are more silent keys compared to some of the other keyboards that Razer has. And you can also use this keyboard with the included USB-C cable, but battery life on the keyboard, it says that it can get around 200 hours of battery, and the keyboard does kind of put itself to sleep if you're not using it for a little bit. That way it's not eating up your battery while you're not using it. And one of the things that I found really beneficial, not only because this keyboard is so small, but with it also being wireless, it's made it easy when I have my laptop plugged into a projector or a TV. That way I can just use it. It's not a larger keyboard taking up a lot of space. You can put it on like a TV tray or something off to the side, and I found that the range is very good, it's very responsive, and again, it's very quiet. And also, it has the RGB chroma lighting. Now, the next thing is the mouse that I have moved over to using, and I know I'm gonna say this wrong, the Oroki version 2. Now, this is a much smaller mouse. It also uses that 2.4 gigahertz wireless dongle, which is actually built into the mouse. It kind of stores itself underneath the top casing. The mouse is also a Bluetooth mouse. Now the mouse, as far as the battery life, says that it gets around 950 hours. Obviously, I have not tested this, but I've been using the mouse for quite a while now, and I still have not had to change out the batteries. And speaking of the batteries, it uses AA or AAA. You can choose whichever one you want it to use. And then these sensors that's in the mouse is it has an 18K DPI optical sensor, which, to kind of dumb that down, is it's a very fast mouse. It's very responsive. And of course, that's important when gaming. But because I do a lot of photo editing and digital art stuff, having a very quick and precise mouse is extremely important. And also with that mouse, I've been using the Akari mouse pad. It's more of a low friction mouse pad, so it's, again, very quick. Now this mouse pad is $60, but I like the textured feel that it has. It has a nice subtle Razer logo, which matches everything else that I've been using. Now I don't use it all the time, but if I am going to be gaming or if I'm going to be editing where I need stuff to be a little more precise and a little more quick, I will pull out this mouse pad to use it. And it just comes in handy because it is thin. I can store it somewhere. But while it's out on the desk, it does kind of cover a larger area, which doesn't make me feel like I have to stay more in a condensed area. And I just like having it because it does make things a little more convenient depending on what I'm doing. So now let's talk about some of the audio accessories I've been using. Again, I wanted to stick with Razer on this. So I had been using the Razer Nari, but since the Barracuda X has come out, I have been using that one a lot more over the Nari. I'll explain some of the reasons why, but let's talk about some of the things that these headsets have. Now, the Nari is a larger headset. It comes in at $150. Now, that one is using 50mm drivers. It is a wireless headset by using the 2.4 gigahertz dongle. Now, it actually has a slot built into the headset that you push that little USB dongle into, so you don't actually have to keep up with it separately. I like the fact that it's always in the ear cup, and when I need it, I can just push it out, plug it into the laptop or the external GPU, and then I'm good to go. It does also have the THX spatial audio. The earpads also have cooling gel inside, so it just keeps you from getting warm if you're going to be gaming for a long time. And it just has really impressive audio, which you can go in Razer software and EQ and do a lot of things there. Now, the reason I've been using the Barracuda X more is because it's more lightweight, it's more subtle, and with that USB-C dongle, it's become more versatile for a lot of things. I've been able to use it with this setup, but I've also been able to plug it into my Android phone. I've also been able to use it on the Nintendo Switch. So the USB-C dongle, to me, is a lot more convenient than the normal USB dongle. But with this headset being a lot more lightweight, I found myself being able to just keep it on my head a lot longer. It sounds fantastic because it also has that THX spatial audio. And this headset is more tuned towards what Razer's audio has been going towards. It's a lot cleaner, it's a lot more detailed. It does have really good bass, but the bass on the Nari is a lot more punchier, where I feel like with the Barracuda X, it's just tightened up a little bit more. So sound preference wise, I've actually leaned more towards the Barracuda X, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. And another huge plus is the Barracuda X is $100, where the Nari is $150. And I can't stress enough how much I've enjoyed this all Razer setup. It's nice to have everything sync up with the lighting. It is definitely a powerful setup, and in most cases, it may seem like overkill. And I think that's the advantage with the Razer Blade lineup. They have smaller laptops. They have the large one, like the 17-inch one that I've been using. They have it with different graphics cards, so if you don't need something as elaborate as what I've been using, they just have a lot of different options, and you can pick them up for a lot less than the $2,300 that my laptop comes in at. Definitely make sure to check out Razer's website. This isn't a sponsored video. I think as far as the company goes, I kind of have a tie-in to them because they believed in this channel before it was anything. And it's just always meant something to me. And I'm one of those that I like to kind of give back to companies that's always supported me. So I highly recommend that you guys check out a lot of this Razer stuff. I'll have links to everything in the description. But thank you for sticking around for this somewhat different video. Thank you for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.